Hey guys, it's Matt. I'll show you the handheld video camera recording in just a second. It's just a guide from my own television I recorded, the MTV, what plays on it. I've wanted to talk about this a long time. I have no idea how I'm going to talk about this, where it's going to go. I sat here for 10 minutes and I didn't just start recording. I don't know. It'll just play out that way. Guys, before we start, I know, I get a lot of emails and things, and it's hard to keep up with emails anymore, but I know how much collectively we are struggling. Okay. Do I sound mentally stable to you? Well, I'm putting on a good face or voice. It's very difficult. All right. Coming through this situation for us, the outcasts, has to do with a little bit better understanding. I believe we're very close, or maybe we don't need much more, but then a plan. We need a plan individually and collectively. If not, we continue in this limbo where every day bleeds into the next. And I hear you. It's very difficult on all of us right now. Just hang in there. Not what are you going to come up with some genius no, but I'm going to try to put a lot of things together, a lot of ideas, amalgamate them and present them at some point. It's time to do that because we see where the world is and where it's going. But nevertheless, that's not going to happen in this video. No genius epiphanies here, not just yet anyway. Can't sit here, Forrest. No genius. We're just going to look at this. It's something I wanted to look at for a long time. Just another reality breakdown. And continue. This series just continues along the same line as when I talked about Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. That glowing ball came into the wedding. The Ministry of Magic has fallen. The Ministry of Magic has fallen. Society and culture in 2022 has fallen. Blue light special. Blue light, something on sale? A pile of socks? No. Society and culture in 2022, at least in the West, has fallen. Let's keep our eyes and ears open, guys. Somebody comes to me and says, Matt, Malawi and Tanzania and Africa, they're operating like they always did. Yeah, parts of it are not safe. I will consider going there soon. I can't take this shit much more either. Okay, guys, this is very professionally and expertly recorded for my television. It's the guide for Comcast Xfinity Ridiculousness. The fall of MTV is fascinating to me. It's just another reality breakdown. And the idea here is how the entire channel is ridiculousness. And I mean, not everything, but there are two or three other shows. Oh, Deliciousness is ridiculousness. It's a spin-off. It's the same thing. But these are problems in the kitchen or fails in the kitchen or somebody burns the hand or who knows. I don't watch it, but I did watch 10 or 15 seconds of a few different clips on YouTube just to familiarize. I didn't know what Catfish, the TV show, is. The fall of MTV. There's 3 shows, on and on forever. This is a song that never ends. It goes on and on and on. It's the ridiculousness that never ends, other than Catfish, the TV show, where you need 20 of them in a row. Oh, what's that, Teen Mom? They throw one Teen Mom in a week inside of 400,000 episodes of ridiculousness. Guys, yeah, Matt, you throw that term around too quickly, reality breakdown. No, I'm not in this case. This, to me, is a reality. Guys, when people on the ship of fools just abandon all common sense, that is a reality breakdown to me. It doesn't have to be the Mount Everest just flows into a river and then reforms itself into a giant mushroom. That's a reality breakdown like in a sci-fi movie. But this is a reality breakdown to me. Deliciousness is just ridiculousness in the kitchen. What are they gonna have one in the bedroom? Sensuousness fails in the bedroom, fails in the kitchen. Ridiculousness is like, it's, to me, I've seen like 5 minutes of it collectively over years and years and years. It's like, what is it called? Jackass. People falling down or getting hurt, and just home movies. Like America's Funniest Home Videos, but just these weird, bizarre situations. When I was doing this, I went by one where this young girl, they threw in a Jersey Shore. Once a week, they throw in a Jersey Shore. And that intellectual comedy. Buckhead Shore. Oh, that's just some spinoff of Jersey Shore. Ridiculousness, 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 ridiculousness. Anyway, girl sitting on the couch. I don't know. She's like third grader, and this gigantic yellow and white boa constrictor is all wrapped around her, but has her pet, and she's completely comfortable with it. And of course, the people watching, they have, I don't know, faux celebrities watching these videos, pretending they're all concerned. Most of you probably know what this is, but I've watched a total of about 5 minutes over many years, just flipping by or something. It seems to be fails. Again, to me, it's like Jackass. So I just went to be sure. I looked at a few clips, and they showed this guy trying to do a rail trick on a snowboard, and he falls on his head. And I mean, look, I can see this show existing, of course. But here's the thing. I have to present this pretty quickly. If you're under, I'm going to do the same age. It always comes down to about 35. But Matt, you said under 35 7 years ago. Why isn't it now up to 45? I don't know. It's always under 35. It probably is at 40 at this point. You don't know how big and mammoth and at the time important and incredible in some cases MTV was. All right, let's stick with underage 35 because that's definite. I should have done this right off the bat in this video. If you're underage 35, you have no idea. You've heard stories how big this was. Running home from school almost to, when hearing your cable was installed, and some people as early as 78, 79, most of us, it was about 82, 83, 84. We have cable TV. Your brother tells you in school it was installed today. Mom finally did it. It was basically the best news of all time. Running home from school. I remember you have no idea how big this was if you're under. And the degradation of it, that's, of course, where this video I was going to say is going. It's where it's already went. But I walked in, and as an 8th grader, and there was the old-fashioned cable box, and immediately you want to find MTV. At that time, you don't give a shit about ESPN or anything like that. And I found MTV. There's all these buttons on top of the box. There were like 2 rows of 20 buttons. You just hit the button, big plastic button. There were 40 buttons, each one. You couldn't even dial to where you wanted to go. And I'll never forget it. It was this big. New Year's Day. U2 New Year's Day. So that'll tell you, I guess we got cable later than most other families, I guess. Maybe that's why it was a bigger deal to me. But and then I guess they were also playing at the time the Red Rocks U2 Sunday Bloody Sunday. And then these VJs were slightly annoying, but then there's every 3 or 4 days there'd be an announcement. The new Madonna, the premiere of Like a Virgin. And you're looking back on this now, you're like, her rolling around that boat in Venice, that ain't shit. I'm just telling you, it was a big deal. How the Michael Jackson Thriller, the 15 or 18 minute video, you almost ran home from school over it. Okay, Matt, to stop, this ain't a nostalgia video. And other people are like, no, keep going with the nostalgia. We'll do the nostalgia some other time. I just want to tell you, it ain't just me or Greg. It's the same way. Anybody my age, if you're 45 to 50 to 55, this was a big deal. The point is, when you hold, and it's a breakdown, a reality breakdown of some kind, or it's not a reality breakdown, Matt. It's what the Notnilc does. It flushes everything down the toilet. Well, to me, that's, when a master system that stands behind the screen is out to flush everything that was good down the toilet, that's a reality breakdown to me. I mean, maybe you don't like, a lot of people don't like my terminology. So what? I'm going to keep saying it. I don't know what to say. You have an asset this valuable, this important, and then somehow it devolves into just fails in home movies. And in other words, why not keep MTV as the music? There's still channels that show music. Why not just have another channel? Call it MTV5 or MTV Fails or MTV Live or MTV what's it called? Reality TV, MTV Real. The company that did this, guys, Viacom, Now, I don't know if they're still involved. I don't follow corporate crap at all. I'm just telling you how powerful they probably still are or were. I never heard of Viacom. There was a kid that did a presentation in one of my Penn State classes. He was in love with Viacom. He was going to work for Viacom. The egregore had been sleeping with this kid in his Penn State dorm room. He talked about Viacom even before he would tell me about Viacom, and then you can do a presentation on a corporation. Oh, I'm going to pick Viacom. I'm like, oh, I'm so surprised. And then it was, it owns MTV, and they have the clout where they could have 10, 15 stations on your Verizon or your cable, Cox cable, or your Comcast or Xfinity cable. They could have kept MTV for all music-related things, and they could have said this is called MTV Real, or not even attached to MTV, just called it the Fails channel, and that Ridiculous could have dominated there. Why did it have to? We know the answer, because everything that was considered once good, whether it was look, I don't need a lesson on the sickness from Hollyweird or the music industry and the sick stuff that happens. I'm just telling you, people or when we were kids, it was exciting. There was a huge video release once or twice a week. It was exciting. Okay, we understand the system now, how sick it is. That's neither here nor there for the purposes of this presentation. So, for the lack of better words, the whole Notnilc system is out to destroy everything that was once good, sports, etc. And in doing so, it gives itself away. Matt, but there's no good music now. There's no bands that you were excited about like U2 back in the day or even Madonna. What are they going to do? Keep showing Taylor Swift? I hear you. There wouldn't be as much now to hold it up. Kids wouldn't be running home from school to see a 50-pound overweight 50 Cent get up there and try to make some sort of comeback, or a new Jay-Z video where he's flashing another hand symbol. It's not as good as it was when we watched it in the early to mid to late 80s. Of course it's not as good, but there's still some music that pops from Taylor Swift's new release or a Jonas Brothers or whatever it may be. And Matt, why do you always refer to the same two I don't know anybody else. Every time you talk about modern music, it's always the Jonas Brothers and Taylor Swift. I don't know nobody else. I'm thinking, I don't know. I don't watch it. I don't know. There's got to be a few others. I know. That's even old at this point. God damn it. Taylor Swift? She's like 75 years old at this point. You keep talking about her as new music. Okay, but you understand the point I'm making. They do this MTV Live and storytellers, and Bruce Springsteen tells us stupid stories between songs, and then every other song will talk about climate, whatever. And then they could at least have all that on it's called music television, right? And have all the other stuff, have a channel just for ridiculousness. Why does it have to be on the mega brand? It's bizarre to anybody over 45 or 50. It's like you have these mega brands you've worked 20 years to build up, in some cases like Hollyweird, Columbia TriStar Pictures, then in the mid 90s bought by Sony Pictures. But they still, what did they do? They didn't just corrupt the Columbia name or the TriStar name. Still, they're bigger pictures. Actually, you'll notice that a lot of truth pictures, what we would call Watch for Truth, come from Columbia. Oh, they're not going to corrupt that from their own weird perspective. With Columbia, they're holding the just as the Statue of Liberty holding the torch of illumination up. Yeah, we know there's reasons why they're not going to corrupt that. But just take TriStar Pictures, that damn, what is it, the Pegasus riding in. They didn't just make that about, the worst movies. They respected the brand. It just doesn't make any sense. You would still try to do music-related things on MTV, and if there was any business, we know it's not. These decisions aren't made because of business reasons. Any first-grade truthers here, spitballers in the back of the Amish classroom. At this level, nothing is about profits. It's about destroying what they call humanity, but can't always go to a damn hobo code. You know what I mean. Obviously, it's their term. It's about learned helplessness, destroying all that was once good. Notnilc tactics that come right from the very heart of the screen. It's never about, to the spitballers in the back, it's never about profitability. If it was about profitability, any first grader, you could have pulled the same kids out of the 8th grade Dungeons and Dragons club and said, what would you do to protect the brand? The 8th graders pulled out of the dungeon. I was about to roll a 20. I was about to roll a 20 with a Vorpal blade. That means I cut off the damn Hydra's head. You pulled me out of the Dungeons and Dragons club. This better be good, boy. Yeah, it is good. Here, I'll pay you $5 for your time. Now, sit down. How would you protect the MTV brand if it was up to you? With the 8th grader pulled out of the Dungeons and Dragons club with no prior business experience, he would say, well, I would make sure I put my best stuff. And even if music breaks down, maybe he was somewhat prophetic, this 8th grader from the Dungeons and Dragons club. He would say, well, even if music breaks down to real horrible nonsense and a fat Jay-Z making hand cymbals, you still would want to put your best stuff and keep it music, your best music on MTV. That's how you hold on to the brand. Maybe there'll be a renaissance in music in the year 2025 through 2035. We know there won't be, but the 8th grader in the Dungeons and Dragons Club may predict that. Then you have the brand intact when there's a renaissance in music. To the 8th grader in the Dungeons and Dragons Club, would you fill it with just ridiculous jackass videos or something called Ridiculousness, completely destroy the brand, completely destroy the relationship or the linkage between music or MTV and music itself, where there's no music? For years before Ridiculousness, it was years and years and years of nothing but 16 and pregnant. The 8th grader, the first grader wouldn't make this, quote, mistake. But our friends and our family and our cousins and the guy down the cul-de-sac still think these companies make decisions for profitability when the first grader can see right through it. All right, let's pause and get the Pootie Tang awards out of the way here. The guy with the Back to the Future life preserver vest there, he's the guy when Chris Rock and the buddies like, Pootie is so smooth, he could go into a club and do this, and the guy in the light, after all is said, then he chimes in with states the obvious. The guy says, and I just want to add to the conversation and say, Pootie's smooth too. And everybody looks at him like, well, that's what we've been talking about, you jackass. Let's do the Pootie Tang awards here, which we'll probably make a segment in every single video. All the little back first grade truthers in the back trying to raise their hands, they're trying to tell me that the MTV Studios is a Masonic temple. That's the Pootie Tang award. And let me just tell you too, that the MTV Studio is a Masonic temple. Really? Being at the center of conspiracy for almost 12 years, I have no idea. I didn't know about that. I had no idea. We got that out of the way. We can move on. We got Wadata, my taby. We got Biggie Shorty, Dirty D. We'll do more Pootie Tang later. It's funny. I can't stand Chris Rock, but I love parts of this movie. Then it really gets bad at some point. Pootie had a way with the women. I'm not talking about little girls in the playground. I'm talking about grown-ass women. The little Pootie there, it says, say to Tay. Say to Tay. Pootie, get your shit. You take your shit. Sorry. I love parts of that movie. This could be it. The very top or apex of MTV's international domination. The Michael Jackson Thriller video released December 2nd, 1983. Now, again, if you're under age 40, this ain't shit. This was a big deal. And even the video was 15, 18 minutes long, whatever it was. It was a little bit of a letdown. It was interesting. They played it over and over and over again, but it was a big deal. Okay? I mean, did we run home from school? Did we run home from the bus stop? No, but almost. Almost. Oh my gosh, you were at the television for the world premiere. Anybody that could be was. So look, whether this is your thing or not, or even if you don't truly understand how big this was, if you're under age 40 or 35 or whatever we want to use, I'm going to take you through a little trip through time. Get in my time traveler. Let's go back to that day or the next day. Or it's going into the weekend. The Viacom, let's go back to 1983. The top executives at MTV meet with the top 5 executives at Viacom, the holding company or the big bosses. And they all go out to the most expensive club, maybe like that Xenon Club that was pictured in the Peter Stuyvesant video, the Xenon Club or something. There's a private room and a VIP area behind the ropes. What's the difference between behind the ropes and on the other side of the ropes? It's $20 more a drink, but it's the same. It's just a little rope that separates it. Yeah, maybe they're whatever makes them feel good. But anyway, these masters of the universe would have been in this VIP section, and they would have said, life can't. We just Thriller's released. It's going great. The ratings on MTV are the highest they've ever been, and they would have these masters of the universe would have congratulated themselves. Ted. Yes, Susan. Things can't go any better. Things can't go any better. We've built MTV to the absolute pinnacle of world music domination. And can anybody ever dethrone us? We have contracts with everybody that's big. Nobody that's anybody puts a video out that doesn't come through us first. They have a stranglehold on the entire music industry, the likes of which has never been seen before throughout all of human existence. And Matt, you stretching a little. Just get to the point. Stop at your expletives. Is that a word? And then I'd walk in. I'm a time traveler. You sons of bitches, come here. I'm going to talk to y'all. Who are you? Why are you dressed like that? I'm from the future. Okay. You know what? All of this you've built, let me tell you what your MTV looks like. See, even the executives then, Matt, over time they do the bidding of the screen and the Notnilc. They're not in on it at that point. No way. That's how the Notnilc works. So all you MTV and Viacom executives, I'm a time traveler from the future. Gather round, get down on one knee like Professor Keating, Robin Williams, and Dead Poet Society. Gather round, huddle up. I'm going to give you a glimpse like Don Cheadle gave that horrible actor Nick Cage a glimpse in The Family Man, although The Family Man's one of the only palatable movies Nick Cage ever did other than Moonstruck. It's actually not horrible. Gather round, I'm going to give you a glimpse of what your precious MTV looks like just 30 years from now, or up to the year 2022. Gather around. I'm able to show through some portal or something, able to show them pictures of what basically the guide that I just showed you, say from 7 years ago, endless 16 and pregnant. We're going through the guide. 16 and pregnant. It was years ago. That's all it was. Now it's ridiculousness. And then I'll show. Well, first, let's say we believed you're from the future. What is ridiculousness? They would say to me the day after Thriller was released in 1983. And I just show them like home movie fails and people trying to dive off the top of barn roofs into mattresses, and the mattress has a bunch of glass in it and shit. And I'm showing them the guide, and it's ridiculousness. It's just endless nonsense in home movies. And you think they would have believed that? They would have said, "You're out of your friggin' mind, boy. I know you've got some glowing portal here, and you seem to be from the future. You got all sorts of tech and shit that we don't understand, but we're at the top of the apex of music in the world. No country can make a move without us. We're establishing foreign MTVs in all the major cities around the world. You telling us in 30 years that's all gone, and it's just people diving off the top of barn roofs. Get this guy out of here. This is a charlatan. He's a fraud. I don't care if he's got tech that we don't understand or not. Throw his ass out in the back alley and get Carlito's way to beat the shit out of him." They wouldn't have believed it. But think of it. There's no possible way, if this Notnilc system was not basically what we know it is, that this could happen to MTV. And it's happened. If you're throwing your rubber ducky, I hear you. It's happened across the board to everything. Everything's been destroyed. The game of baseball has been destroyed. The American pastime, your grandfather probably talked about it. My grandfather outside of Philadelphia here talked about going to Shibe Park, which was Connie Mack. I always want to say Kaminsky. That's Chicago. Connie Mack Stadium in Philadelphia was also called Shibe Park. And it was a huge deal when Jackie Robinson's coming in or something, or Mickey Mantle is coming in. They go down and get in for 50 cents. Not 50 cents, that over the hill dude, but he'd go in and pay 50 cents, get up close and see Jackie Robinson, and the players were playing for a salary that was really no higher than what somebody would work, in an office worker in Philadelphia. Some of the mega superstars, that's an Obama. Mega superstars made a little bit more. They weren't making that much. There was no technology to ruin the game. You could argue with the ref and the ump. That was part of the deal. Come on, ump, that was a strike. That's part of the experience. All been destroyed, all by design. When there's a close play, somebody tries to steal from first to second, close play at second base, you could argue with the ump. The manager would come out. The fans would get involved. Now they got some 4K fucking tech that shows you whether he was safe or out, which nobody fucking wants. So let's not stray too much. The point here is nobody in the world, if they were if they were in that special VIP room with the executives at Xenon, if they were anywhere in the world, you would never believe it could turn to this. And they're not even real celebrities looking at the videos. It's just these, I don't know, who are these people? And they have a canned laughter, and then these guys do a snowboard and they fall on their head and they laugh. And I could understand the show existing, maybe even on MTV, but 16, 20, sometimes 20 episodes in a row before showing a few episodes of what was that other thing? Catfish. Oh, Catfish, I looked it up. It's people that lie about their online dating profile, and then they try, I don't know, I refuse to go look into it. They try to find out what they're lying about, and they're not presenting their real pictures for online dating profiles. It's dumber than the Kardashians, the Catfish show. So MTV is nothing but this Catfish show. These guys driving around trying to say you put the wrong picture up in your dating profile. I don't know. It's that dumb. And it's ridiculousness. That's all it is. Now, deliciousness, it's the same as ridiculousness. It's fails, people chopping a finger off in the kitchen. Nobody in the world would have believed it if we were talking about this in 1983. And what's incredible now is you can't even use what I'm talking about to convince anybody, your cousin or my Tony or the guy down the cul-de-sac, that something very strange is going on in the world. They would just have every excuse in the world. Matt, this MTV found this to be more profitable. Oh, you'd hear all the excuses. Oh, I'm sure it's more profitable. And even if some normie used our own arguments against us and said, Matt, you said it yourself. All you guys bitch about there's no great acts anymore. There is no next movement in rock and roll like the grunge movement in the 90s, and everything's dead. And fine, even if some normie was able to use that against me, and maybe I got tripped up in my debate with the normie for a second, I would then come back and say, well, okay, fine. But then that assumes that there's never going to be a resurgence or renaissance in music. Music, you're saying that it will never, ever be great again. There will never be the next phase of music. So if you hold the number one brand in all of music that is eclipsed through the 80s and through the early 90s, what MTV did eclipsed anything ever done in music times 1,000. If you hold a brand of that weight, then you're just going to assume there will never be a renaissance in music. You're just going to assume it's all broken down forever. They know it has, but see, that's what makes no sense. If they know no great music is coming, or no, there won't be grunge part 2 or whatever is coming in rock and roll, or whatever is coming in modern music, or the next phase of pop music, that's even more of a reality breakdown if they know nothing will be coming in the future. If anything were real, if these executives were making decisions based on profits and losses and what they tell their shareholders and everything that people have been led to believe in a business school, they would say, wait a second, we can't destroy the value of the brand. If you're in any sort of business school, they'll tell you that the Coca-Cola brand or the brand established over 20 years, or in some cases with corporations over 100 years, that the intellectual property, that is everything. They would never say, they would say, I'm not going to put some ridiculousness show on this MTV channel because it immediately starts to destroy the brand and what we've worked for the last 25 or 30 years. The executive would say, I love the Ridiculous show, and yeah, it makes a ton of money for us, or will make a ton of money for us, but Viacom would have the ability, they'll just call Comcast and say, we're just going to pick up another channel. They're just going to add a channel. You know how many ridiculous channels there are, like in a Verizon or a Cox Cable TV or a Comcast lineup? They would just add a whole channel. Channel then 528 would become MTV Real. or just drop the MTV Viacom reel for this type of bullshit. They would never allow it into the MTV brand to erode it. This is first fucking grade business school shit. But our whole family thinks we're crazy for this type of conspiracy. You're one of those people. Okay, time to look at the mega creep behind this thing. I have no idea what we'll find. I know this I don't even know his name right now. I haven't looked at the Wikipedia yet. There will be some weird shit. I guarantee it. He's probably some little Rockefeller or Rothschild or Obama running around, and it's just we need to keep this guy busy. He won't leave the house. He's still in our basement with us. He's still we need to find employment for I think half this shit. These people are connected in some way. I really believe it. Let's find employment for this guy. Get him out of our basement. We'll give him a show that will dominate the world brand for all of music for the last 30 years. He'll take the whole channel over on his own, and people will be dumb enough to believe this could happen. Yeah, which Rothschild or Rockefeller Palace is he still living in our basement? Oh, that one? The one up by Versailles? No, he's in Versailles. He won't leave. What's that from? I said that. It's a risky business. Lana and her friends, they won't leave. He won't leave Versailles. Well, we got to give this guy some employment. We got to get the tourists back into Versailles so they believe our Louis Auguste shit. Okay, Wikipedia. Let's do this together. I have not read this. Ridiculousness is an American comedy clip show. Is it really funny when somebody smashed their head on the ground after like a rollerblading fail or whatever, or a skateboarding fail? That's really funny. It began airing on August 29th, 2011 on MTV. It's hosted by Rob, this must be the guy, Rob Dyrdek. I have no idea how to pronounce that. Dyrdek. I don't care to pronounce it properly. Dyrdek. Co-hosted by Sterling Stilo Brim. Stilo Brim? Who the hell's that? And Channel West Coast, there's apparently somebody's name is Channel West Coast, I guess. Ridiculousness Strictly. Are you proud of yourself with a name like that? Channel West Coast. Have you heard of the straw man and the dangers of getting too close to the straw man? Ridiculousness Strictly showcases various viral videos from the internet, usually involving failed do-it-yourself attempts at stunts, to which Rob and his panelists add mockery and reaction. Like, I'm adding mockery to your life, dude. Say, Rob, that will be out of sight. The producers of this series at MTV refuse any submitted videos for the show for the safety of their viewers, instead licensing already existing content. Like there wouldn't be, it'd be real tough to go find fails on the internet. That's a real genius endeavor. Next Wikipedia paragraph. Production. On September 11th, 2012, Ridiculousness was... Oh, no. Matt, you knew. Come on, Matt. You knew it would be here. I did not. I swear to you, I had no idea. I saw it 30 seconds ago. Okay, I did see it as I was pasting the clip. I had no idea. You just get a sense, like reading the Matrix code, you just get a sense that when you investigate shit that like reality breakdown shit that makes no sense, it will always start popping up on Wikipedia. On September 11th, 2012, Ridiculousness was renewed for a 20 episode third season, the 23 666. Oh, they just have to tell you the date it was renewed for the 20 episode third season. Why would that even be relevant other than, well, Matt, of course it's relevant because they have to show the number. Yeah, of course. But then you tell my Tony about that or my cousins and they just think we're crazy. It premiered on February 14th, 2013. Don't look at the numbers of everything. It's just not. We know the gematria will flow out. There's no point in breaking the numbers down and everything. It premiered on February 14th, 2013 and included a crossover with Jersey Shore when Paulie D. Is that the guy that just ran around with his shirt off for 10 years on Jersey Shore? The season took a hiatus from April 2013 to July 18th. Oh, wow. It took a hiatus for like 3 months. Season 3 averaged 1.6 ratings, like anybody would believe the ratings. Due to the series being consistently marathoned on MTV and MTV2, it's run the way I showed you guys, one episode after another, after another, after another. Apparently, it says it's been going on since 2015. Some episodes of Ridiculousness were repackaged with lower cost production music. What? The new music was under blanket licenses overlaying the former tracks. Oh, come on. The series is produced by Super Jacket Productions, Rob Dyrdek's production company, a multi-year deal with MTV. The theme song, a cover of Devo's Uncontrollable Urge, was done along with Devo member Mark Mothersbaugh, with Dyrdek providing the yes. What? Who cares? He must feel really like he accomplished something when he goes to his grave. Music supervisor Ben Holstein said that, quote, kids think the song is original to our show and never heard of Devo, but hopefully their parents appreciate. We've heard of Devo back when MTV was somewhat good. Was it Whip It? Okay, I scrolled up and clicked on this dude's link. This is the guy. I have no idea who this guy is. Robert Stanley Dyrdek, born June 28, 1974, is an American entrepreneur, actor, producer, reality TV personality, and former professional skateboarder. Oh, here we go. Why is this Notnilc system so in love with these skateboarders? I mean, okay, there's some people that follow skateboarding, but they take the skateboarders and they make it into the biggest thing of all time when really, for the most part, nobody gives a shit. It's really weird. He's best known for his roles in the reality show Robin Big, which I never heard of, Rob Dyrdek's Fantasy Factory, and Ridiculousness. He also is the creator of the animated series Wild Grinders, in which he voices the series' main character, Lil Rob. In 2014, Dyrdek was labeled as one of the most influential skateboarders of all time. Was he in battle with what was that fraud we covered a year and a half ago? Tony Hawk. He ain't nearly as famous as Tony Hawk. Why would there even be a list of influential skateboarders? What does that even mean? Influential on what? Scroll down. The early years. Rob's wonder years. Dyrdek was born on June 28, 1974 in Kettering, Ohio, to Gene and Pau. He was involved in sports as a child and began skateboarding at the age of 11. There's no reason to put that in there. They love the 11. I don't know. What does it do for them? I have no idea. I don't care what it does for them. Why would you have to put the date? It would be remarkable if he started at age 3 or 4. Just some date, 11, 12, 13. Why would you even need to put this in the article? All of Wikipedia is crafted like this. It's very strange. When he received his first skateboard from professional skateboarder Neil Blender, on his early interest in the sport, Dyrdek stated, I was so focused on becoming a pro skateboarder, I would sit in school and think about all the tricks I was going to. Oh, come on, get out of here. Okay, scroll down through more paragraphs, just nonsense shit that is meaningless. I'm still trying to figure out, if you kind of know where I'm going with this, how this guy took over to dominate what used to be the world's most important cable channel. How this guy, this nobody, got to take over and dominate the world's most important, what used to be cable channel. That's no small endeavor. You know, did he put that in the high school superlatives? I eventually will take over myself, the world's most important cable network. Let's just see if there's anything. If there's nothing here in business career, then we'll have to just make some inferences for ourselves. Dyrdek's first business was Orion Trucks. Orion, of course. Trucks. A truck, he doesn't make Ford F-150s. It's the stupid little metal parts at the bottom of a skateboard or something as a truck, I guess. During his time with DC, whatever that is, Dyrdek began his exploration of entrepreneurship through shoe design, and this led Dyrdek to launch various short-lived companies, which that means they failed. He began his exploration of entrepreneurship. He didn't know shit about starting companies. Let's design shoes, and they failed, according to short-lived. That means they failed. So continue reading. It says, short-lived companies, including a hip-hop record label and a skate shop. I wonder why that failed. He tried to be like Shaq. He tried to do a hip-hop record label. Maybe Suge Knight showed up and kind of roughed him up and got him out of the business. And he did a skate shop, like a little skate shop, like a stoned Heath Ledger as Skip in Dogtown and Z-Boys. Wonder why that would fail. See, it's all right so far. It's failure, 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 failure. So, let's see how does a failure? But he had money, Matt, from the skateboarding. Okay, fine. Dyrdek's properties have included Wild Grinders. That's like owning the secret recipe to Coca-Cola, an animated series on the Nickelodeon network, and Street League Skateboarding (SLS). Oh wow. So impressive. In addition, Dyrdek has partnered with various brands, including Rogue Status. Who cares? Wild Grinders was a fictional... One more paragraph to see if this one paragraph can explain how he can take over the #1 cable channel of all time. Wild Grinders was a fictional animated skate crew and toy set. Dyrdek is also the founder of the business incubator Dyrdek Machine and acquired DNA Distribution. Oh no. The holding company of Alien Workshop before selling it back to its founders. Dyrdek is also an investor in UFC, Beach Whiskey, where he also serves on the advisory board. Oh, wow. It's so impressive. It's given me chills reading this. Beatbox Beverages, fail. Well, what have you done, Matt? Not much, but I wasn't living in a Versailles basement, and I don't have these types of connections that this guy obviously must have. And Stance, whatever that is. In 2017, Dyrdek became co-founder of Black Feather Whiskey. Dyrdek never saw it once in a Pennsylvania state store. That's our liquor stores here. It's still state-owned. Okay, guys. In our circles, truth investigation, some would say conspiracy, we talk a lot about connections, bloodlines, all that stuff. This guy would almost have to be one of those, in my opinion. There is one other scenario where he's not one of those, and let's just explore that first. At some time, whatever tactically or strategically the Notnilc, the screen, the corruptor needs, whatever it needs to do, I think sometimes it will select someone to do it. Is it always a connection or a bloodline or a family member, or somebody's really a Rockefeller or Rothschilds or a Harriman or a Vanderbilt? I think that happens a lot. I don't know. I never attend a no eyes wide shut party, but sometimes I think the Notnilc itself will kind of select. Maybe this idiot was at the right place at the right time to do what the Notnilc needed to do to MTV, and it's endless strategy to destroy all that was once good that we've talked about. We'll talk about if anybody's struggling. Why does it do that, Matt? We need to address that again. And I'm going to look, there's something very new that came up regarding Star Wars and why that's being destroyed. I talked with Greg about it yesterday, and he agrees. I'll talk about that soon. Maybe the Notnilc is just using him. It could be that simple. Just happened to, this dummy happened to be at the right place at the right time. Well, or he could be a connected individual with a family or relationships or bloodlines and all of that. Now, I admit I haven't watched a whole lot of it. Over years and years, collectively 5 minutes of the show, even including the research here. Why keep watching? Is it going to be any different if I keep watching? If anybody's taking the other side of the podium that there's real talent here, really? I mean, look, we're all subjective in our opinions, and I see somebody that's not impressive, that isn't terribly likable, runs out there with his dude we lost our car jumpsuits and his hat. He's not that likable. He's not holding any intellectual property. He's not holding on to anything. MTV, they said themselves, he's not even getting the clips. These clips of fails, they exist on the internet. So in other words, he's completely replaceable. Why would his net worth be estimated at $100 million and up? Okay, he dominates the #1 most famous cable TV channel of the past 30 years. He's holding nothing. What would he be holding? Intellectual property? No, anybody could come in. You get a homeless guy in there, train him for 10 minutes. He could just take fail clips and people smashing their head against the wall and jumping off barn roofs. And that's already, it's not like he has a way to get these clips that nobody else does. He's using what's in the public domain for the most part. So all he would be offering is the name Ridiculousness. Well, okay, maybe he's established somewhat of a brand that couldn't be replaced overnight with a show of a different name showing the exact same types of clips. So he must bring the star power of the host. He looks completely replaceable. Almost as strange as what is the Ed Sullivan Show. That dude was so weird, but maybe he controlled the show and he did have power to pull strings. He was so unlikable, it didn't make sense how he could have stayed in that job unless he controlled every bit of it. But, this guy, who is this guy? So it could be a connection. It could be you'd never know these guys' real last names. I believe all the old money still exists. Vanderbilt, Harriman, Getty, Rothschild money is still public. They say they're still filthy rich. Rockefeller and Rothschild are still public. They'll tell you these sob stories like Vanderbilt. Matt, don't you know Vanderbilt lost all their money? And Anderson Cooper can't get any access to it except this little bit or that little bit. Oh, sure. Yeah, they all lost all their money. No, all the old money. 80% of the old money. Astor. Oh, we went down in the Titanic. Did he have his entire net worth in his damn cabin? No. I mean, J.P. Morgan. Where's the J.P. Morgan family today? It's one of the biggest gigantic bank stock companies. You'll see Jeffrey Diamond, the CEO's worth all these billions. Well, how about J.P. Morgan and the family itself? Where are they? Of course that it still exists. We've been over this many times. And these people, wherever they live, whatever continent doesn't show up on your map, or here, and they live in a certain wing of Versailles or wherever, they got kids in the basement just playing. This could be one of these dudes playing PlayStation all day. It's like, Rob, Mom, be quiet, Mom, leave me alone. Rob, you're 30-some years old. You got to get out of the basement. You got to leave Versailles. Stop playing that PlayStation. But I get the games first because we're connected. I get the games before even GameStop gets to the games. Well, so what? Mom, leave me alone. Make me meatballs. No, you're going to work, boy. We've set you up as a skateboarder. That's all you do around here. We're going to make you into the world's biggest skateboarder, other than that Tony Hawk, that other fraud that serves us. And we've set you up in a job. You're going to host a show. I'm going to host a show on You're going to take over the whole damn network. It'll be fun. You can laugh at these people smashing their head on railings, and you'll just, for year after year, well, does the show need any ratings, or does it need to be any good? No, it doesn't need to be any good. They know who you are and who you're connected with. We'll set you up, and we'll make you a star. But you don't want to. Come on, don't you want to party in the Hollywood Hills and just bump into Anthony Kiedis, and y'all can ride in the back of the convertible around West Hollywood? You want to stay in the basement here at Versailles the rest of your life? You're right, Ma. If you set me up with this job, I got to get out in the world. Yeah, I'll put my PlayStation aside. It could be. Is it, Matt? That's ridiculous. Is it? These connected people and families have kids, and some of these. I swear. I think a tenth of these rockers and these ridiculous acts. There's just got to give the kid a job so he gets out of the damn Versailles basement. Of course, I'm making fun. It's a stretch. But generally, I believe a lot of these losers that pop up with no talent are connected. Or it could be as simple as the Notnilc needed to do something, to destroy something, and people are in the right place at the right time. And then they believe how special they are and how talented they are when they have none. None. I'll just close with this. Even the way the branding of the name Ridiculousness is presented, or you could say the branding that's part of the logo, where the word ridicule, I know that there's no E. I think doesn't ridicule have an E? But it's obvious, and he's even pointing to it. To ridicule, the O is the play button, but it's there to separate the two, ridicule from U-S-N-E-S-S. To ridicule the U.S. society and culture, which is just an extension of all Western culture and the way they've been able to destroy it and erode it and to make it meaningless. To ridicule what they've done, it is a mockery. I get on the truth community too much because many can't see anything past mockery. Oh, Matt, that's just a mockery. Yeah, I agree. Many of things they call a mockery is a mockery, but there's other reasons why the certain presentation is being made. An insidious reason, a Darth Insidious reason that's more malignant than it's just mockery. Half the truth community thinks it's just mockery. They're laughing about the same things every time, the same 33. All they're just laughing. No, it's all. There's other reasons these presentations are being made, and the mockery might be there, but it's also very dark on the other side. Now, is just potentially a mockery of their accomplishments, of the destruction of Western culture and society? The society and culture has fallen, and we're going to use this show and this useful idiot to ridicule and to mock it, and then they'll laugh at the Eyes Wide Shut parties? Maybe.